east towards Windhelm and Dawnstar. On another night, this might be quite a dark wander, but between the lanterns along the road and the bright moonlight that's diffused across the land by the clouds, it's quite easy for us to see our way along the road. And I've noticed here that off to the right-hand side of the path, we've got a frostbite spider, which is a vile creature, unpleasant to say the least, so we're going to just let it on its way, sidestep it here, so as not to disturb it. Frostbite spiders are easily some of my least favorite creatures in all of Skyrim. They look unpleasant, they sound unpleasant. That little rabbit up ahead there, that's much more my style. I'd take a rabbit over an enormous spider any day. But frostbite spiders notwithstanding, there's something incredibly peaceful and soothing about a solitary walk in the snowy forest at night. So let's just take a little wander off the beaten path here to enjoy the serene stillness. The only sound is the crisp crunching of our footfalls in the fresh, undisturbed snow. And the light sighing of the wind, occasionally rising up to gust and blow the fine snow to and fro through the trees. And the trees themselves, how tall they stand, how mighty and old they must be. Skyrim's forests are ancient as any of the human settlements here, and perhaps older still. These trees have seen centuries of people, men and mer, come and go. I love the way the snowflakes dart about and swirl, carried by the breeze. It looks like we've returned here to the road. It was but a brief wander through the woods, but it's nice to be back on the path, if only because of the welcoming light of the lanterns that line it. A welcome sight for any traveler. However, we must diverge once again from the road, because our path lies up and ahead through the ancient ruins of Labyrinthian. Labyrinthian's history stretches far, far back into the mists of forgotten times, to the Merethic era. It was originally constructed as a center of worship for the dragon cult. This is not a dragon that we see before us, however. This is a caribou, enjoying the solitude of a moonlit night, undisturbed by our passage. Labyrinthian, as it rises ahead of us, is but a pale shadow of what it once was. During the height of the dragon cult in ancient Skyrim, the great dragon priests met at this very spot to discuss matters of great importance and conduct powerful rituals. After a time, the center of worship grew into a city in its own right, the mighty city of Bromjunar. For many years, Bromjunar flourished, and there's some indication that it was even the capital of Skyrim for a time. But during the Dragon Wars, the city fell into ruin and was abandoned for many, many years. It wasn't until the First Era that the great Archmage Shalador repurposed the ruins to create a great labyrinth with which to test potential archmages. It was this labyrinth that gave the ruins its name that we know today, Labyrinthian. There are those who say that remnants of these ancient powers still linger here to this day. That there are cult sites of the ancient dragon priests, places of great power buried deep within the ruins, and that Shalador's labyrinth still exists somewhere within these ancient stone walls. I know nothing about the truth of such tales. The discovery of such things is best left to braver place where one can feel connected to the past. Look at the way the beautiful clouds just cling to the mountainsides here. The snowy forest spreads before us into the distance. It's a perfect night for a wander. And so we find ourselves at the mighty walls of Labyrinthian, standing tall still, surviving through the millennia, worn but stalwart. In the distant past, when the city was still known as Bromjunar, it had a reputation for being nigh impregnable. And as a matter of fact, fragments of ancient scripture have survived to this day, describing the city's intimidating walls. One fragment reads, "Hail all, brave city Bromjunar, forever these walls shall stand. The enemies see her majesty, may all quake to behold her." That was, of course, millennia ago, and today the worn, tumbled stones are inhabited by frost trolls and bandits. Although, look, a dragon. So perhaps we are not so far from the ancient days of the city's majesty after all. Or perhaps they are to come again. Either way, Labyrinthian remains a fascinating and historically important piece of Skyrim, and evidently important frost troll habitat that we are perhaps disturbing. That one there sounds like he's got a bit of a cold. Very hoarse. But they pay us no mind. And we will carry on our way. Perhaps the city's past importance was also related to its strong strategic position here in the pass that leads between the Morthal swamps and the Whiterun plains and the tundra to the south. That is ultimately where we're headed, through Labyrinthian, through the pass, and south to the plains of Whiterun. These great stone arches still stand after all these years. It amazes me what incredible architects the ancient Nords were. And not just the arches, but the ornamentation persists as well in numerous places throughout Skyrim. It's truly remarkable, and it makes one wonder if perhaps the stones are imbued with a kind of ancient magic that protects them from the wear of centuries. as many of those secrets died with the ancient hordes. However, we are through Labyrinthian now, back into the towering trees of the forest, and shortly we will have made our way through the pass and will emerge overlooking the vast windswept expanse of the Whiterun tundra. The night grows long, and I feel that we can't be too far from dawn now. We're well into the wee hours, and the air still holds a bitter cold chill. That may also be because we're now up in the hills. It gets colder here than in the lowlands. The snow, which we began with in tonight's journey, has persisted all through the night. This light dusting, these flurries that blow to and fro. Looks like we've got a wolf up here. Unaware of our presence as ever. Therefore not a concern to us, but wolves are majestic creatures, beautiful and wild. Perhaps he's on the prowl, hunting for something to take back to its den, maybe to feed cubs. And here, at last, we've reached the pinnacle of the pass. Having traversed the snowy pine forests and the ancient stones of Labyrinthian, we emerge to the site of the vast Whiterun tundra, ringed on all sides by the jagged teeth of mighty mountains. The sky is still heavy with clouds, diffusing the glow of the twin moons across the land. And in the far distance, rising above all else, the throat of the world, and high Hrothgar perched on its shoulder. Well, my friends, I think this is a fine place to end our wanders for the night. Perhaps we can catch some sleep before the dawn breaks. I do hope that you enjoyed our meanderings today. It's always a delight to return to our wonders through Skyrim, and never you fear, there will always